Hi guys, and welcome back to Unhinged but Healthy. I almost said the old name there for a second. Slay! Yeah. So, hey. It's been a week. It's been a week. I literally got up for work at 5 a.m. Monday. Literally, like, still asleep in my car. And my car decides to have trouble starting, and then I take it to 4 garages and none of them can look at it, and then I get into one the next morning, thank God. Nothing wrong with my car, so yeah. And then I was just so tired, like literally so tired. And then my poor dog got rushed to the vets last night, and bless his soul, he is okay, thank God. But yeah, I was just crying this morning. I was like, oh my God, is he alive? But yeah, he's alive. But yeah, anyways, so before we get into today's episode, which is going to be about how growing up with conditional love affects us in adulthood, if you're watching on YouTube, I would be very grateful if you could subscribe and like and comment if it's kind. If you are listening to me, I would be great. I would be grateful. I would be great. I would be grateful if you could rate the podcast, share it maybe, and my socials will be down below. I should probably use them more often, to be honest. But I'm just a busy girl. It's hard out here. I always catch myself like on a Friday just recording this the Friday before it goes up. But anyway, I've been rambling too long. It's literally pouring down. I say and then I proceed to ramble. Okay, last thing, it's literally pouring down here. It's June. Can you hear that? Probably can't hear it on the podcast, but you can probably hear it on YouTube. Can you hear that rain? Kind of soothing, to be fair. But yeah, anyways, so getting into today's episode, let's start with what is conditional love. So I haven't looked up a definition of conditional love. I don't have a professional definition for you, but my definition of conditional love would be love that can be taken from you at any point. So it is love that is given to you on condition that you are acting in alignment with what someone expects from you, or love is given to you on the condition that you are acting in a way that somebody approves of, shall we say. And of course, as an adult, I don't think everyone deserves unconditional love, but what the hell just happened? As an adult, I don't think everyone deserves unconditional love. However, as a child, I feel like that is something that needs to be given to you so that you understand where your standards should be when you grow up. And if you don't know that, it can be very dangerous in some cases. So when is it appropriate to give conditional love? So like I just said, as an adult, I do think people deserve conditional love. It's not a bad thing on the right terms. Like as a child, I feel like when you're given conditional love from your parents or caregivers, you then become an empath, so to speak. You become an empath, and you become somebody that does give out unconditional love, and you will give it out to anyone because it's all you really want back, if that makes sense, because it's not something that you've experienced especially when you've done something that is completely normal for a child to do, and then like love gets taken away from you and you get taught that like being yourself is bad and you won't get love for being yourself, and then you sort of form the habit of hiding who you are because you think no one could actually love you the way you are. So yeah, as an adult it's different. You have boundaries, you have standards, not everyone is the same. Like I may have standards for friendships and romantic relationships and family relationships, even jobs. My standards in all those areas could be completely different to yours. Like I wouldn't want my boss to speak to me like shit, and if that came up I would probably not be happy in that workplace and I probably wouldn't stay there. Whereas for another person, they wouldn't understand that was not really acceptable, and that just because somebody is your boss doesn't actually mean that they are above you, because they aren't. They may be in the workplace but they aren't as a person. So yeah, so somebody else might stay there. So it depends on your standards. Like in my previous relationships, like I have just given and given and given, and I've taken and taken and taken shit, and I've still been like, it's okay though, like I love them, they love me, like it's completely fine that my boyfriend is doing all this stuff behind my back, because he does love me and I love him and he always comes back to me anyway, or like it's completely fine that like my family member is doing this because they're my family, so like that just means that like the love has to be unconditional. And friendships, like like we get on really well, like they've done this for me before, and like just bare minimum things, but they'll just say some really out of pocket shit to me or about me, and I'm like, oh yeah, but it's fine because like she took me home from that night out one time. Like no, like that's not how it should be, and it kind of sets the bar for how people actually treat you. And then they will treat you like shit because they know that you accept it, and I also feel like that doesn't bring out the best version of you, because it definitely didn't bring out the best version of me. But yeah, so anyways, let's get to the question, let's answer it. When is it appropriate to give conditional love? When you're forming relationships as an adult. I feel like it's difficult when you're in school and stuff, you're just friends with whoever's around. Same goes for uni, really. Not many of those relationships actually have substance to them, and that's fine when you're younger, as long as nobody's being like actually horrible to you. But yeah, so when you're forming these relationships, or when you're reforming these relationships, when you finally come into yourself and you decide like, I don't know if I want this relationship anymore, you put conditional love into place. So you give someone you and all the benefits of you until they do something that you don't align with, you don't appreciate, you don't identify with being treated that way anymore, so at that point is when you let them know, or you don't have to let them know. At that point is when you kind of withdraw yourself. It's not as if you withdraw your love and you start treating them horribly, you just withdraw yourself, you just kind of detach from the situation. And if they want to talk about it, great. And if they don't understand, then that's when you kind of have to say like, okay, this person doesn't actually deserve my energy anymore, like I love them and they've kind of served their purpose in my life, and maybe again in the future like things could be okay if they grow and they change. But if they're going to keep treating me this way, then I cannot give them me, because they don't deserve it, and it doesn't benefit me. And it's not in a way of like, oh, it doesn't benefit me, like it doesn't benefit my well-being, it doesn't benefit being the best version of myself, not in a transactional way of like, what can I get from this person? That's not what I mean at all. It's just, this person doesn't allow me to function to the highest of my ability when they take a priority spot in my life. Therefore, I have to drop them down or just cut them out completely. And that doesn't mean that it has to be like bad, but yeah, that is when conditional love is appropriate. When is it inappropriate? It is definitely inappropriate in childhood. So if you are a parent or a caregiver, you know, and you are giving your child conditional love before they even understand life, I don't think that's right. Personally, I'm not a parent. Okay, I'm not a parent. I have no siblings. I have no kids around me. But I would like to think that if I did, I would not treat them in the way that I was treated by the people, not all of them, but a lot of the people around me growing up, because they instilled some extremely negative beliefs about myself into me, and it could have been avoided had I experienced unconditional love. So yeah, it's difficult because it's weird. Like I said in the beginning, like conditional love teaches you unconditional love, and unconditional love teaches you conditional love, because you understand how you should be treated and where your standards should be for the way people treat you. Whereas when you are raised with conditional love, you think that you are the problem in every situation, and you think you deserve all of these bad things, and you think that you need to make up to these people who are treating you like shit because you think you've done something to deserve that. And it's like, even to this day now, like I used to get it really bad when I was younger, but like if my friends wouldn't reply, or like if a boy I'm speaking to doesn't reply, I'll be like, oh my god, like what have I done? And I would literally flat out ask, like, what have I done? Like, have I done something? Like, is something wrong? These days I ask myself, have I done anything wrong? Have I actually done anything different? Have I said something that could have been received in the wrong way? No. Okay, I haven't done anything wrong. That person's just, their energy is a bit off. That's fine. It could be nothing to do with me, you know? And those are like the questions you have to ask yourself. But yeah, when you are a child and you are getting love taken away from you, and like, I can't think of the right word, like just withdrawn from you for just being a child, for making the mistakes that a child makes, for breaking things like children do by accident, you know, by making a spelling mistake, you know, these are just a few things that I got love withdrawn for me from, for. You know, like I remember, I might have said it before, like I wanted to write on an envelope when I was younger, and this family member said to me, like, you can't make a mistake, like it has to be right, as if she couldn't just go and grab another envelope, like, you know. So then I thought about it so much that I did. I wrote my own name on the envelope. Oh my god, World War Three. World War Three. I got Facebook with my mum's permission, may I add, when I was a kid, and I didn't think I needed to tell anyone else because my mum had said yes. One of my family members saw me on there and then proceeded to shout at me in the middle of a shop that she worked in, and didn't speak to me for 2 weeks, told me that I was horrible. Mind you, I think I was in year 8. So I was like 12. Didn't speak to me. I was literally like crying, literally throwing up, because I was so upset that this family member wouldn't speak to me. And you know, I got like, you're exactly like this family member that they didn't like, and like, oh my god, like literally. And I thought I was like the worst person on earth because I got Facebook and my mum said it was fine, but because I didn't consult this family member, I literally thought I was like the worst, most inconsiderate person in the world. And yeah, I literally grew up hating myself because I thought, like when I do everything wrong, like why would I like myself, you know? And like that is what conditional love throughout childhood, like having love withdrawn from me for tiny little things, like dropping a jam jar and like smashing when I was like 7, and like, you know, just, you know, having like the Wi-Fi taken away from me because I didn't want to apologize for something that like every kid does, like just being locked in my room, like not locked, not literally, but yeah, you know, like it just literally makes you grow up to hate yourself and think that everybody else hates you as well, and like it's what you deserve. What's my next point? Yeah, my next point is just the question, how does it affect us when we aren't shown unconditional love in our childhood? And I feel like that is when you start to look for it wherever you can get it. Like I'm not proud to admit it, but like when I was like 16, no, not 16, like well, male validation, I chased that shit when I was 17. All I'm saying, thank God for lockdown, because me on a night out, absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah, like it just wasn't great. Like I would literally like, any thing is, it doesn't even make you feel good about yourself. Like if you've gone through a phase where like you've literally like done anything for male validation, male attention, like you know, just like gone through one of those phases, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Where was I going with that? Yeah, like you know, you don't feel good afterwards, you feel worse, you literally feel worse. And it's like those are the points where you get the most male attention because they know what they can get from you. Like I don't get much, like I get a bit these days, but I don't get much, like, but it's because they know that they can't get certain things from me without a commitment. Whereas when I was younger, like you could get anything from me. Like if you'd seen me like 3 times, then you were like, but he sails in the wind. You know, like you were sailing basically. And like it's just, it's not nice. And yeah, it does make you search for validation from other people, it does make you search for any sense of approval. And I feel like um that's when you get into relationships with narcissists and sociopaths and things like that, you know. And like I've had many of them in my life, and it's horrible. And like you don't care about how they treat you because at least you're getting some attention. And it's like when they're lovely, but when they're bad, they are awful. And it's horrible. And again, like that makes you think like, why do I deserve this treatment? Like, and I often get really angry about like the way I've been treated growing up, because you know, like the relationships I've been in, the way I've been treated by friends, by boyfriends, like I thought I deserved all of that. And it's like literally like rewired my brain still. Like I don't know if I would ever fully be able to trust someone again. Like I literally went through a phase where I thought it was normal for like boys to be speaking to lots of other girls whilst they were with me, or like seeing me. Like I just thought that was normal because that's all I'd ever experienced. And I was just like, well, everyone does it, I guess. Like, and it makes me sad to even say that out loud. But yeah, and it's just like, it's just something that you accept when you haven't been shown unconditional love and you haven't been taught that you are worthy of that. Like no matter who you are, like no matter how you present yourself, like you know, you just think like, oh well, this person will give it to me. It's very rare that I'll come across somebody that will actually give me love. It doesn't matter if they treat me like shit, it doesn't matter if they cheat on me, like it doesn't matter if they talk behind my back. Like yeah, and it's not nice. Like I remember the last time I was seeing someone, like in my head, I was just like in my head like, oh, I bet he's like still speaking to his ex. Like I just bet that like they 100% speak, and like he's speaking to me and seeing me at the same time, because that's exactly what mine used to do, you know. And it's like it's hard to try and learn that like, no, not everyone will do that, and like if they do that you'll find out and then you won't accept it anymore. But one thing I will say, actually, because it's right here, I've been reading this book and it's nothing I don't know already, but buy yourself The Damn Flowers, girl. It's a really good book. It is really good. It's kind of like, I know the things, but it's a reminder, you know? I love this. And I actually would have really loved it when I first started like this like healing journey in 2022. Like this would have been my jam. But yeah, she's great. Check it out. But yeah, so that is how it affects us. It makes us like kind of just believe in adulthood that like the way that people treat you will just always be negative and you kind of have to get the best out of it. You grow to be hyper vigilant to those around you and you ignore your own needs, and this is so true. Like I literally lived my entire life up until about 23. I was gonna say I'm literally 23 now. Yeah, to be honest, until 23 I do actually feel like I've lived my whole life in like fight or flight, and it's not nice. Like maybe a little bit less consistently from like the age of 22, but yeah. And it's horrible, and it's like I'm so in tune with the emotions of other people around me, and it's not nice because it's like when I can feel one of my friends or like family members are having a not very good day, like even though it's nothing to do with me, I get very quiet and I'm just like, what can I say? What can I not say? Because I'm literally like so terrified. I'm getting better with it now, but it's like I can still be so terrified that like I'm gonna say something and like it's my fault and I've said something and like they're just being that way with me and like they're not being that way with anyone else. Like it's not just a bad day. Like it's really hard for me to not internalize and like try and adjust how I am to how I can tell or how I think somebody around me is feeling. And it's not nice. It's not nice. Like, you know, if you're watching this, like I don't know, like if when you were a child, like you would go downstairs and like, you know, everyone would, or just like one person would be in a horrible mood and like they were just not nice to you, and then in the whole day like you just had to be like so like scared and like so hyper vigilant and like you couldn't ask anything and like you know you couldn't do anything, and it's like it's really difficult when you're a child because you can't even leave, you know. But yeah, then you start to ignore your own needs because you don't feel like they're important, because you then feel that everyone else's needs around you are more important and you need to, sorry, my mum was watching TV, and you need to tend to their needs and yours need to be pushed aside in order to survive. You've most likely grown to be an empath. So yeah, I mean, I have seen a lot lately. Everyone's like, is empathy a real thing? Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's created or if you're born with it. Like, I'm a water sign, so you know, I feel like you kind of just got built in empathy if you're a water sign. But yeah, you're most likely an empath because you just feel for everyone and you don't want anyone to feel the way that you ever did, in a way. That's how I feel anyway. You take things very personally because you never learnt to not internalize others' behaviors, and I still struggle with this. Like even, you know, like like I don't get attached to people so easily anymore. Like it doesn't take much, but it does take a lot of consistency and like persistence for me to get attached to someone these days. But yeah, it's difficult, like when somebody's off with you a little bit, and it's like I have those days, and I know that it has nothing to do with anyone else, and I just won't really talk to people, or I won't really be talkative. Like I'll just send pictures of my face because I'm a child and I still use Snapchat. But yeah, like I won't want to talk to people, and it's like that's fine, like that's literally completely fine. But when other people then do it to me, like if I see that they've been active and they're not replying to me, or like they're being quite short with me, or like you know, like, don't know, like say like family member doesn't want to speak to me or whatever, like I will then think like, oh my god, like what have I done? And that's still where my mind goes, and I have to like soothe myself and be like, look, you haven't done anything wrong, like this person just needs space, not specifically from you, like, and even if they are ignoring you, like you're gonna be fine, like you're still gonna be alive, like you're still gonna wake up tomorrow, life's still gonna go on, like you're gonna hear from this person eventually, you'll be fine by yourself, you've been fine by yourself before. And I know that's so extreme, but that's just the way that I need to talk myself down and be like, look, you've literally not done anything wrong. And it's just hard because it's like there's literally people walking this earth, and no hate to them, I'm jealous of them, and they don't even have a second thought. Like if I didn't reply to them in like 2 days, they literally wouldn't have a second thought that anything was wrong. Like they wouldn't even think it was them, you know. But yeah, because obviously like as a child, like you learn from the way that you were treated, like that it's not always about you in the best way possible, like it's not always about you. Like, you know, if your parents have communicated to you like, oh look, like I'm feeling really sad today, and like that's nothing to do with you, that's nothing to do with you, like I'm still here, if you need me I'm still here, I'm just a little bit sad, and that's fine. Whereas if it's like, oh, can I have a cheese drink? Fuck off, you know, oh, why are you always, you know, yeah, like, and then you're like, oh my god, like that is so about me, and then you grow up thinking like everything is about you, and it's like, no, actually everything is not about you, and that's a good thing. This will affect your relationships in adulthood negatively. Like honestly, in my last relationship, I literally thought that like everything was about me. If he was in a bad mood, that was about me, you know. And then because I would feel that way, we would then argue, and then it would be about me, you know. And it's like you kind of need to snap out of that, and it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to snap out of that, you know. And it is difficult, and it's like my life has gotten a lot easier since I stopped caring about that. Like if there is an issue, someone will communicate that to me. If they are somebody I want in my life and they want me in their life, they will communicate to me that there is an issue and that I have done something wrong, and then we will have a conversation. You know, if they haven't communicated anything to me, then nothing is wrong as far as I'm aware, you know, like, and if I don't think I've done anything wrong. But yeah, it is difficult because you will internalize other people's behaviors still and the way they treat you, and that's not something that is rid of easily. Like even the last time I was seeing someone, like I remember like they were having like an off week or whatever, and I like my brain just went to that place because I was attached, and it's just like, for God's sake. Whereas like if now I haven't really been tested again yet, but yeah, it's like I would like to think now that I would be able to say to myself like, look, it's nothing to do with you, like just give people space, like it's nothing to do with you. Like when people pull away, whether it's purposely or not, I want to go with them, you know, when I need to stay here and just self-soothe, you know, because otherwise things just get all sticky. And yeah. You aren't aware that hot and cold behavior isn't okay. And this is so true. And this is something I've only just started to realize. Yeah, like honestly, the amount of friends and boyfriends I've had that have been hot and cold, and it's like, that's not okay, but like because that's the way a lot of my family were growing up, I think that's normal, you know. And like that's absolutely not normal. Like somebody should not be hot and cold with you, even when they are feeling like shit. They should not be cold with you, you know. People who love you will not be cold to you, and that's literally just that, you know. If they have any sense of emotional maturity, they will let you know that why can't I speak? I mumble so much. I literally mumble so much. Yeah, like they will let you know that it's literally nothing to do with you. So check that one off as a red flag, because it takes a long time when you've grown up with conditional love to realise what red flags are, because you were treated with so many of them growing up and they feel familiar and therefore they feel safe even though they don't make you feel good. You're unsure of what to tolerate in your relationships, you lack boundaries and often get walked all over and taken advantage of. And this is so true. Again, it's like you don't know what the red flags are. Like, you don't know that somebody shouting at you for the smallest thing is a red flag, because that's what you've grown up with, you know. Like, you don't know that somebody's shutting you out because you made a joke and they didn't like it. Like, you don't understand that that's, you know, as long as it's not out of pocket, like, you don't understand that that's not normal. Like, an example of this would be, I feel like this was long enough ago for me to talk about it now. I was seeing someone like nearly 2 years ago now, and he literally, I don't know, he went really weird with me. I could tell he wasn't interested anymore, but I was still very much like I just said, like, he was pulling away, I was pulling closer. And I just got back from Manchester and it was really late at night. I had work the next morning at 6 a.m. This was about 8 p.m. and he was like, can you pick me up from this place? And I was like, yeah. And bearing in mind it was like an hour away from me. And then he's like, oh, then you can stay in mine. And I was like, yeah, okay. Went there. He literally got his stuff out of my car when we got to his flat, walked up, like I hadn't even like really gotten out of the car yet, I hadn't even locked it, and went into his friend's flat, was speaking to his friend, then yeah, just carried on walking, didn't even wait for me. Like, he just wanted a lift, and you know what, you know, literally ended it with me like 2 days later. But yeah, and like at the time I didn't realize that that was like really cold behavior. Like, you've literally just called me for a lift after I've done like a 4-hour drive home, which you knew about, barely spoken to me all day. You know, I've got work at 6 a.m. in the morning. You've called me for a lift an hour away to then take you home, stay the night, and then, yeah, you just literally run up ahead of me, go and talk to your friend, and then, yeah. So, you know, like, I didn't realize that that was cold behavior. You know, like, I just thought that that was normal because it was nothing I hadn't experienced before. But that's not normal, okay? Yeah, and people will take advantage of you because they know that you'll put up with it and they know you won't say anything either. So put a stop to that, girl. Get some boundaries in place. You often think your presence alone is an issue and you deserve the bad treatment you are getting. And this is so true. Like, do you know the amount of times when I was younger that I just got ridiculed for literally being there? It's not nice. It's not nice. And like, even though I'm grateful to be who I am and like the way I am, like, still sometimes it just makes me so angry. But yeah, and then it's difficult because when you're in situations then you think like, oh, this is like, people are literally off just because I'm here, like just because I exist. And like, I promise you that is not the case. It's not the case at all. It's all in your head. I used to go back to uni sometimes and like, I wouldn't even go and speak to the girls that I lived with because in my head I was so convinced that they hated me. And then, you know, because I was in that mindset, like, anything they said, I would be like, oh my god, like, they're literally saying that because they hate me. Like, no, like, that's actually not the case, babe. Like, it's fine. But because you're in that mindset, like, that is what you will see. Doesn't matter if it's happening or not, it's true because you believe it, you know. So anyways, how to change this? So you'll find that over time you'll have had enough of being treated badly and feeling badly, and this will spark the change. So for me, this was probably, not completely, but the start of it was definitely my last breakup. I just didn't want to be treated that way anymore. Like, I didn't want to be saved for later, and I didn't want to be someone's backup plan, and I didn't want people to think that they could just come running back to me anymore. And it was difficult. And it was difficult because the attachment there was very strong, and if I'm honest, I think it only went this year. like, and you know, maybe like 6 7 months, no, longer than that, last year, definitely last year. But that took me a really long time. Like, I started this podcast after that, and this podcast is gonna be 3 in August. But yeah, anyways, I just didn't want to be treated that way anymore, because I just felt like everyone in my life was treating me that way. And yeah, it just sparked a change in me. Therapy will help you to realize, if you haven't already, that you don't deserve this treatment from others. And this is so true. Like, the amount of things I said to my counsellor, and she was like, what? Go, what do you mean? And I was just like, what? And she was like, honestly, no wonder you are the way you are. Like, no wonder you accept the treatment that you do from people. Like, it's not normal how people have treated you, like, your whole life. It's literally not normal. And I didn't know that, just because that was so, like, normal for me. But yeah, even the books I used to read when I first, like, left that whole situation, like, even the books I read, I was just like, oh my god, like, what have I been doing my whole life? Like, what have I been doing for 21 years? I don't know. But yeah, 2 years later, nearly 3. Yeah, things do get better, guys. It takes a while, but they do get better. Even though it's hard, you'll stop accepting this treatment and recognize your patterns. So you do also play a role in this, as you do in everything. You accept this treatment because you think you deserve it, and you have to change what you believe you deserve. Otherwise, you are just going to keep receiving it because you're going to keep accepting it, you know? And it is really hard. It's so hard. But once you've broken the pattern a few times and you've made a new habit loop, so like, an example of a habit loop would maybe be like, you feel sad, you then like post a picture of you, like, thirst trap, on your Instagram story. Your ex messages you, you then go into your ex, and then you're in this cycle again. You know, you feel sad, instead you recognize your trigger, you soothe yourself, you break the cycle. And once you've done it a few times, your brain will recognize that this is safe, and you don't need to do that whole, like, post a picture, get the attention, go into the habit loop again. Like, you will recognize that, like, you don't actually need to do that, and you're going to be okay if you don't do that. And you'll break the pattern. So yes, go you. Ask yourself questions. Why do you allow yourself to be treated this way? So really dig deep there, you know, like, just do some shadow work. Like, sorry, I got an itchy eye. Yeah, just really, like, dig deep there. Like, when did you start accepting this treatment? Why do you believe, who made you believe that you deserve to be treated this way? Who's treated you this way? How does it make you feel? Like, you know, how do you want to stop feeling? How do you want to feel? You know, even though it feels uncomfortable, start accepting kindness, because you do deserve it. And the thing is, until you start accepting it, you aren't going to believe that you deserve it. And it's hard, you know. Like, I used to think that when, like, people were being nice to me, it was too good to be true, or they were doing it because they were making fun of me, or because deep down they had, like, a negative intention, but they just had to be nice to me first. And like, I had a really hard time with it, and I just felt like everyone had a negative intention for me, like, underneath the kindness. And like, you know, I would deflect people's kindness. And like, same with, like, compliments. Like, just accept them, you deserve them. Like, people are saying that stuff to you because they think it and they believe it, so you believe it too. Don't just sit there and be like, oh no, I look like shit today. Like, no, you don't. Like, people are telling you you look nice because you look nice. Believe it, you know. Like, just accept the compliment. Like, the other day I was in Home Bargains, and this the woman behind the till was like, oh my god, you're so pretty. And I was like, oh, and I went to be like, oh no, I was like, oh, thank you so much. Like, you know, just accept the compliment. Like, you don't have to give a compliment back. Like, it's not awkward. Like, they wouldn't say it if it was awkward, you know. But yeah, just push through the discomfort. Affirmations and rewiring neural pathways. So affirmations will do this for you. keep reassuring yourself that people's mistreatment is nothing to do with you and everything to do with the other person. Realistically, why do you care what somebody else thinks of you? Are they you? No one has a valid opinion on your life because you are the only person that has lived your life. Like, even when your friends are giving you all this advice and stuff, like, yes, it's kind, but they actually don't have a clue. Like, they haven't been in your brain. Like, the only person whose experience of you is valid is your own, you know. And like, when you come to terms with this, you kind of learn that, and like, why would I care what anyone else thinks when they actually have never walked a mile in my shoes and they never can? So why does it matter? Like, I will do as I please, you know. But yeah, you just need to keep repeating to yourself like all of these positive affirmations about yourself, you know. Look at the areas of your life where you feel you have limiting beliefs, where you feel you deserve to be treated negatively. Look at these areas of your life and then look at affirmations. Make your own affirmations. It's not hard, you know. Just literally reverse the negative thought. Write down the negative thought, then write down the opposite. Tell yourself the opposite whenever it pops up, you know. And eventually this will rewire your neural pathways. Like, the amount of times I felt anxious because somebody started replying to me slower, or, you know, I'm like, oh my god, they think I'm weird, oh my god, like, they wanted to meet me and like now they don't, and, you know, like, oh, like, they got to know me and now they don't like me. And it's like, do you know what, literally no, like, it's everything to do with them. It's everything to do with them and it's nothing to do with me, because all I've done is completely be myself, and that's completely fine, and it's going to weed out the wrong people. And thank you, even though I might be a bit sad at first, but I literally just have to tell myself, like, people are busy, like, I'm not going to be everyone's priority, just like everybody isn't my priority, and that's fine, you know. Like, that doesn't mean anything bad about me. Like, people, you often forget that people are also a whole other complex person. Like, it's not just you that has all these thoughts and these feelings, and, you know, like, people exist outside of the time that they spend with you, and they don't always have the energy, and, you know, sometimes people say things that they don't mean, and that's fine. And again, that is also nothing to do with you, and sometimes people don't realize it until it's too late. And even though, yes, that's shit, people sometimes won't communicate that either because they have their own issues, and it's literally nothing to do with you. And just remind yourself of that. Acting secure is a choice, as our girl Margarita Nazarenko would tell us. Acting secure is a choice. And, you know, for a while that used to really trigger me, because I'd be like, I literally can't help it. But no, it actually is. She's right, guys. It actually is a choice, and it's uncomfortable at first, but you'll thank yourself later. You know, like, I'm not avoidant, so I don't know how that feels, but being anxious is literally hell. Anxious attachment is literally hell because you get attached like this. But yeah, you know, like, just choosing to be secure, like, realizing that, like, not everyone actually deserves your energy, and actually, like, I do deserve more, and that's okay. And even if people are nice to me and they're not giving me what I want, and that's also okay, you know. Like, people can be nice and still not be giving you what you need, you know. But yeah, where was I going? Where was I going with that? I don't actually know. Yeah, anyways, so it is a choice, and it is uncomfortable when you first start to act secure, but then you kind of just focus on you. Like, you just kind of take your energy away from the situation, and especially as an anxious person, like, that is really difficult. It's really difficult, but it's just sort of like, you know, like, what is this person actually giving me that I can't give myself? And how does this link into being given conditional love? Is just because, you know, like, this person might not be giving you much, like, you know, like, breadcrumbing you, and whereas you used to be like, oh my god, like, wow, like, now you're just like, oh, okay, that's that then. Like, it, you know, like, my feelings match what you're giving me, instead of like, you're giving me this and my feelings are up here, you know. Because you don't know how you should be treated or what your standards should be, because you were given conditional love as a child. Last point, once you start practicing the traits of a person that you want to be instead of the person that you are, you'll find it easier to stop accepting this poor treatment. Yeah, so basically, just write down all the traits you want to embody. Write down the behaviours that you no longer want to, you know, the behaviours that you don't want to have anymore, basically. How can you change them? What's the opposite behaviour? Write it all down, like what traits does your dream person have, and just practice them, literally just practice them. And you can also do this with like what you expect and like your standards as well. And once you start acting as the person that you want to be, then one day you will just be that person. Like it's hard at first, but you will get there, and you will eventually realise and cringe the treatment that you used to accept. But it's all a learning curve, and if it hadn't have happened, you wouldn't be who you are today. But with that being said, I hope that this has helped, and I'm very sorry if you can relate, because it's not a nice boat to be in, and I know that. But yeah, lots of love, lots of love. Yeah, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and yeah, again, please like, subscribe, share. But yeah, anyways, bye guys, love you.